Good evening and welcome to this special telecast. The suspense is over and the stage is set for Tamil Nadu to get its new Chief Minister. Sasikalas Proxy, Editorial Panneerselvams will take oath at the Raj Bhavan in moments from now. Along with Panneerselvams, 31 new ministers will also be sworn into the state cabinet. He'll have to prove his majority, of course, within 15 days. But will this be a stable government, or should we expect some amount of turmoil leading to early polls in Tamil Nadu? Is the turmoil finally over, or is this just another titular chief minister with the remote control in Sasikala's hands? Is this advantage DMK in the medium term? What's in store for Tamil Nadu, and what's the bigger picture nationally? For all of that and more, we're joined by a very special panel on ET Now this evening. Swaminathan, Aiyar, Sagarika, Ghose, N. Ram and R. Jagannathan, four finest journalists to debate and discuss the impact of all that's happening in Tamil Nadu. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us here on ET Now. Swami, I'm going to start off with you. A few days back, it seemed as if Panneerselvam was also in the fray, but now that it's Editorial Panneerselvam who's taking charge as the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, is this really the people's choice?
No. I mean, these are two puppets of two corrupt puppeteers. And that's very clear, and everybody knows it. They're not chosen by the people. But 2 points to be made. If you are a spineless puppet and you're put into office, you suddenly develop a spine and you begin to want to do various things. This became very evident with Mr. Manjhi in Bihar. Something similar will happen, which then leads between the puppeteer and the puppet. So, friction between Sasikala and Palaniappan after some time, it would not be surprising, especially if she tried to assert herself in various other ways. Let me also say that it is a credit to Sasikala that she has managed to keep this group together. But will it last? Absolutely no guarantee of it. The majority is very slim. The DMK would be there offering all kinds of inducements. And the DMK would be delighted to have the government fall and have a new election. The DMK would be extremely confident in a new election. So I would not bank upon this being a stable outcome. I would see all kinds of factional fights within the AIADMK coming up, and I do not think that they will last a full 5 years.
Jaggi, Swami says that Sasikala has done a fine job of keeping the flock together for now. And if you look at the turn of events over the last few days, it seems to suggest that she is not as much of a political novice as she's been made out to be. Her pick of the chief ministerial candidate, and the fact that OPS has not had any success in trying to woo more MLAs into his fold. The big question really, though, is this the people's choice, or is this just the choice of Sasikala?
No, I don't think. I think she made a strategic calculation and realized that if she was going to jail, you better have somebody who can hold the group together till the assembly passes the trust vote. So I think she also made a smart move in selecting a gounder to balance her own Tevar group, which is very strong there. So you have two groups who are actually now tied together into this alliance. So it was strategically a very good move for her to keep the flock together in the short run and win the trust vote. Otherwise, if you lose the momentum in the short run, you will have a problem later on. That is the reason why I think she did it. I think she did a good move and it worked for her.
And Ram, do you agree with Jaggi there? That's strategically a good move by Sasikala and picking, OPS in picking Edapalli, EPS rather. One keeps getting confused between OPS and EPS, but in picking EPS as the chief ministerial candidate. And will this keep the flock together at least in the near term?
Well, Panneerselvams is a party veteran who's been with Jayalalitha for a long time, so he does have that credibility. But then much depends on how the Jayalalitha family behaves and her proxy, the so-called Deputy General Secretary, and that's under challenge in the Election Commission. So, and also whether how public opinion develops from this point, because we knew that there was a lot of support for Panneerselvam as against Sasikala. But will this defuse the situation? We don't know yet. But I think the 15 days given could, to cut both ways. If Panneerselvam delays the no confidence vote, that would give more time for, if public opinion goes against him strongly, then there'll be a lot of pressure on the MLAs. So from his standpoint, the earlier he does the confidence vote, the better for him, because most of them have just come out of confinement. I don't think they were free agents. Some of them may have been committed, but so we have to wait and see. So there could yet be a twist in the tale.
Sagarika, would it be fair to assume that no matter what happens, Sasikala will control the party? She has stamped her authority in more ways than one by having her family members control the party and by appointing her person, her proxy, as a chief minister. So sitting in prison, she will control the state of affairs as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned.
Certainly so, Sandeep. It's been a fascinating 12 days. We've been watching the developments very closely. Now, at long last, it looks like Tamil Nadu will get a chief minister. But as has been said, how long will he last? And also, remember, 15 days given to prove his majority, and a lot can happen in 15 days. But yes, you're absolutely right. It's advantage Sasikala. It is a victory for Sasikala. She has managed to keep the flock together. She has managed to install her proxy as chief minister. And she has fought off the challenge of Panneerselvams. Now we know that, of course, the election commission has been moved, and Mr. Maitriyan has told the election commission that since Ms. Sasikala has been convicted, her orders are illegal. So therefore, her appointment of E. Palanisamy is illegal in the first place. So he cannot actually take oath because this was actually an illegal appointment. But be that as it may, and the protests are carrying on outside the ministers of the AIADMK. The people who are taking oath as ministers. There are protests carrying on. There are lots of protests happening in Chennai, even as we speak. But for the moment, it is advantage Sasikala. It's a victory for Sasikala. You know, at the end of the day, Sandeep, politics is a numbers game. Whoever has the numbers will form the government. And however unpalatable that may be to us, or however we may not like it, certainly Mr. E. Palanisamy is not seen as a very wholesome candidate. There are questions about his integrity. There are the links to the sand mafia and all that has come up. But it is a numbers game, and as for the moment, she has mustered the numbers, and therefore it is a victory for Sasikala for sure.
Jaggi, the big question is, why has OPS not been able to woo more MLAs, especially when it appeared that he had the popular support of the people of Tamil Nadu? Why has he failed so miserably in getting more people on his side?
Well, two reasons actually. One is Sasikala must have anticipated that he would try and poach her MLAs and straight away moved them, put them behind lock and key in that Golden Bay resort. So that is, it was difficult for him to access anybody. The other thing is, even though popular support is there, especially after his gains after the Jallikattu episode and all that, I think he still does not have the full stature required to be able to just get MLAs over to his side merely by saying, look, I am taking my own claim to power. I think that is why I think Sasikala's decision to lock her MLAs up was a good one, purely from the point of view of power play. I don't think is that, but of course, now the governor has said you proved your majority within 15 days. The reason why 15 days will not be 15 days is because I think Palanisamy is likely to go and seek a vote almost in the next few days, so that the flock stays together. If you give 15 days, I think you may again have a shift of MLAs and it could create problems. So my guess is 15 days is what Panneerselvams would want. 15 days is not what Palanisamy would want.
And Ram, I'm guessing you'd agree with that assessment as well, that the longer it takes for Palanisamy to get the trust vote through, the more the chances of MLA shifting to the other side. But are you also perplexed by the inability of OPS to get more MLAs on his side, or did you see this coming?
No, I think most of us expected more people to cross over. We didn't know. We knew that the number will not go up to 118. That is very, very unlikely. But we thought by their going over, they'd deny Palanisamy a majority. So there'd be an implosion and so on. That's been averted. And I agree with the two reasons just mentioned, that why it didn't happen. They were confined. And secondly, I think there was some commitment. But OPS did not command the stature to sort of pull them the way Jagannathan did after MGR's death. So those two are the basic reasons, I think, and I agree with them. But the longer it takes to do the confidence vote, the more risky it will become for the incumbent chief minister. I think that's very clear. So he is likely to he would be very foolish if he didn't do it early from his own standpoint.
Swami, one other reason could be the fact that Sasikala controls the finances of the party, and so the MLA realized that it was probably smarter for them to align with her than with O. Panneerselvam. Do you see that as a possible reason as well why MLAs didn't desert Sasikala in favor of OPS?
That's a very important reason, especially if you foresee the possibility of a midterm election. Then money, yes, becomes very important. And without doubt, Sasikala is the one who does control the money. I think also, after what happened in Himachal and Arunachal Pradesh, the court decisions in those cases made it a little more difficult for defectors to believe that you can have a defection and gain power if the other party is out there. I mean, technically you need a 2/3 defection from a party, otherwise you lose your standing. And to get a 2/3 majority is not easy. So I think Panneerselvam's job was not easy from the start to get a 2/3 majority from this particular group if he wants to split away, or but let us see. As I said, the DMK will be delighted to force a situation where there is a midterm election. And if that happens, then all these bets are off. The idea that, the issue is between just Panneerselvam and Palanisamy, no. The question is whether there will be stability regardless of which of them wins this internal battle. Whoever wins, I still see instability. I still see a great difficulty in completing a full term.
Before we talk about that sort of medium-term, possibilities, the more immediate choices before OPS, does he have any, Sagarika? He's moved the Election Commission, but realistically, what can he do now?
Well, Sandeep, as we've been saying, this has demonstrated the clout of Sasikala, and it remains to be seen whether she will be able to run the party from jail. That's what Jayalalitha did. She ran the party from prison when she was in prison and when she had instituted Panneerselvam as her proxy. Now, Sasikala has done exactly the same thing that Jayalalitha did. She's gone to jail and she's instituted a proxy as Chief Minister. Now, the question remains, will she be able to run the party from jail, or is the AIADMK really heading towards a future which is going to be very fractured, which is going to see some implosion? Because remember, Mr. Palanisamy has given 120 odd names to the governor. Now the halfway mark is 118 in the Tamil Nadu Assembly to demonstrate majority support. Now, from that 120 or 124 odd, if a few do not vote with Mr. Palanisamy, or if a few switch sides or jump ship, what happens then? Then Mr. Panneerselvam's numbers go up slightly. He can deny the majority to Mr. Palanisamy, yet not be in a position to form his own government. So it could be a recipe for instability. Mr. Panneerselvam's options are in fact hinging on not perhaps allowing Mr. Palanisamy to form the government. But for the moment, though, if you look at the way the legislators are behaving, it really looks as if they are firmly with these team Sasikala. That's precisely because nobody wants another election. This party has a mandate for 5 years. They have 4.5 years stretching ahead. So the thought of another election, which is going to cost a fortune, and again going back to the people, nobody clearly wants that. The legislators don't want that. So that's why they're sticking with Palanisamy, because they do not want to risk the possibility of another election. But Mr. Panneerselvam's options are limited to ensuring or trying to ensure that Mr. Palanisamy does not get to prove his majority. If Mr. Palanisamy does not get to prove his majority on the floor of the House, and no one is in a position to form a stable government in Tamil Nadu, then all bets are off. We could be looking at a possible crisis then. Those are his options at that time. But for the moment, it looks as if the flock is very much with Mr. Palanisamy, and that he will be able to win that trust vote. Although, as has been said, if it carries on for 15 days, if 15 days elapses, then in that time, perhaps people could jump ship and go over to the other side. For the moment, Mr. Panneerselvam has faced a setback. back. He did think that he would get more support, but he didn't. His options now really look pretty limited. He's actually now just focusing on the fact that he's trying to say that what Ms. Sasikala did was in fact illegal. So he's gone before the Election Commission. We also have to see how the Election Commission rules on Mr. Panneerselvam's plea.
Sure. And Ram, do you agree with Sagarika there that the options before Panneerselvam is limited and much will depend now on Sasikala's ability to keep the party together from the jail? And the one reason why they could be is because they fear the possibility of a mid-term election. So that could well determine their behavior in the medium term.
I don't think Panneerselvam's options are that limited. And much depends on the measure of public support he retains or will get. And much depends on what he will do, whether he'll go out and campaign aggressively, offensively against this clique, as he calls it. He's used all kinds of words. And also, I think the Election Commission does, that will matter, because if they rule that it's not in accordance with the AIADMK's constitution, her appointment as General Secretary and everything she did, it may not have an immediate effect on the government. But so far as the party is concerned, I think it'll damage her hold over the party very much. So, but I think they have rightly ordered notice, because that's the due process, the rules of natural justice. So, but I hope that can be done quickly. Not that it, but I do agree that there's a possibility that the government will not be very stable. Much depends on mobilizing public support. Already there are protests. To what extent, what kind of pressure will the MLAs face when they go back to their constituencies or from their constituents? Much depends on that. And if Panneerselvam is any kind of leader, he will go all out at this point. However long, we don't know when the confidence vote will be taken. We all agree that the earlier the better for the incumbent chief minister, but for the person, we don't know that. But I think the longer he takes, the greater the risk for the Sasikala group. And I think prima facie, it looks like the Sasikala's takeover of the party is not in accordance with the constitution of the party. So how the Election Commission will decide on that remains to be seen. But prima facie, I think it is not in compliance.
And I think that could well determine which way things shape up, how the Election Commission rules. But Jaggi, is it fair to say that whatever the outcome over the next couple of weeks, even if there is some near-term stability, the fact remains that the AIADMK is now a significantly weaker force, and like all our panelists have been pointing out, runs the risk of the party imploding in the medium to long term?
Yes, I mean, there is at least a 50% chance that something like that could happen. It can only way the party can stay together is by a controlled sharing of power between the various critical caste groups, like today the Tewars and the Gaundars and the smaller castes that are aligned with the ADMK. They'll have to make effectively every ministry an ATM machine, so that the party stays together purely by the chance to be able to generate resources on its own. And I think something like an UPA coalition, where some ministries or ATM ministries, and so people stayed in merely because they could be corrupt and make money. But I can't see it. There is no glue in the party now that Jayalalitha has gone. There is no single commander for the forces. So I think it will have a problem staying together.
Mm-hmm. Swami, do you agree with that? That whatever happens, it's going to be very tough for this party to stay together in its current form, and an implosion now almost looks inevitable in the medium term.
In the medium term, yes. As I said, it's entirely possible that for the time being, they say, if we don't stick together, we shall hang separately. So for the time being, yes, I think they may well last. They may last a year. They may last 2 years. But beyond that, I mean, there will be rumblings. There is really no glue to hold these people the moment Sasikala goes. I see, now that Jayalalitha has gone, there is nothing to hold them together, and the fact that Sasikala is in jail really means that the party is up for grabs to all kinds of new internal forces. So I would expect that there will be a breakdown in the party within the next 2 years, and that we would see a midterm election.
Sagarika, let's draw the national picture now, because that's something that we'd be more interested in as well. What does this strengthen the anti-Modi bloc when we look at 2019? Because DMK is the obvious beneficiary. That's sort of a given, and since DMK naturally gravitates towards the Congress and has been a part of the UPA, does this move in a sense strengthen the anti-Modi bloc? Sagarika?
Well, in a way, Sandeep, I think with Mr. Palanisamy as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, the centre is going to have to rework to an extent its relationship with the AIADMK. Remember, Subramaniam Swamy has actually gone on record to say that some central ministers were actually actively lobbying for Mr. Panneerselvam. Mr. Panneerselvam was seen as the preferred choice of the centre. Mr. Panneerselvam was seen as in a way, as the New Delhi's candidate. But in fact, since now that has not happened, clearly the centre will have to rework its relationship with the Palanisamy and the Sasikala-led AIADMK. In that sense, of course, the Tamil Nadu situation remains very, very important for the centre. Remember, we have president elections coming up in June, July. You've got 2019 coming up, of course, and so those 39 MPs of the AIADMK are very important to the BJP and to the centre. So the relationship will have to be, I think, in a way reworked. But yes, I think with the taking over of Mr. Palanisamy as opposed to Mr. Panneerselvam, I think the centre's role or the centre's aims in Tamil Nadu has perhaps received a bit of a setback.
And Ram, do you agree with that the way the centre has handled this episode, it was evident that several central ministers were seen favouring or lobbying in favour of O. Panneerselvam. Has that taken a setback, and what's the bigger picture that you're drawing as far as the 2019 elections are concerned? Does this strengthen the anti-Modi bloc?
It's clear that the centre favoured Panneerselvam. Oh, yes, no question about it. They did as much as they could. But I think in the last phase, there's no alternative available swearing in Palanisamy. That's one, proposition one. Proposition two, they succeeded in alienating the Sasikala camp. In fact, that scene, the oath she took, is interpreted in Tamil Nadu. Hindu has a story on that today. Is interpreted in Tamil Nadu as you swear revenge. It goes back a long way, and that's how it's been interpreted. Revenge against OPS and revenge against the Modi government for doing whatever they did. And I think this goes against the centre, because you have on the one hand a very strong opposition, the DMK, with whatever support the Congress is able to provide as a junior ally, junior partner, with a few seats in the assembly, plus the Sasikala camp, as long as it lasts. If they disintegrate quickly, then maybe the centre can retrieve something out of it. But I think the BJP has lost out in this round. I have no doubt about it.
Jaggi, your thought? Jaggi, your thoughts? Would you agree with both Enram and Sagarika that this is a setback for the centre, and more importantly, the fact that this strengthens the anti-Modi bloc, because DMK, now that the government has upset the Sasikala faction, they're left with few choices. And the DMK is obviously a beneficiary which will tie up with the Congress, and that could be a setback in turn for the Modi government in 2019.
No, I think we are looking at this too short term, because while it is true that the DMK is part of has been part of the UPA, but don't forget, under Vajpayee, DMK was a part of the government there. And so, it was only later on that they ditched the DMK and they went with the ADMK and actually lost. In fact, that shift to ADMK cost the BJP. So I wouldn't put it past the NDA under Mr. Modi to have some kind of alliance with DMK at some point if it does work out. But one cannot be sure about that. But given the fact that DMK has been associated with too many of the UPA scams, especially 2G, So I think, but one should not, in politics, I don't think you can say that there are permanent friends or there are only permanent interests. So I think you should not assume that the ADMK is the only party they will align with.
Swami, do you agree with Jaggi there? Is that in the realm of possibility, or do you think the overhang of 2G will never allow the BJP to tie up with the DMK?
No, I think Jaggi is right. After all, yes, there was 2G, but there is also this particular case where Jayalalitha has held to be criminally guilty, which has not yet happened in the 2G case. So it's not the case that, clean group versus non-clean group. Everybody's hand is dirty. Everybody's hand is dirty. And Jaggi is dead right that, when Mursoli Maran was one of the key cabinet ministers in the Vajpayee period, they got on very well together. And it was Vajpayee's biggest folly that he shifted over from the DMK to AIADMK. So, will 2G gradually get forgotten? Is it possible to emphasize Jayalalitha's corruptness rather than A. Raja's corruptness and on that basis justify a different alignment? It is possible. On the other hand, I think the DMK itself would like to be in the position where it can choose. If there's going to be another election, the DMK would be pretty confident of sweeping it without the help of the BJP. So I think, they might well say, well, okay, it's interesting that, we are in demand, but as of now, let us establish our strength as best we can, and at a later stage, we will see to whom we bestow our favors.
Sure. Closing comments from Sagarika and N. Ram as well. 30 seconds. Sagarika, to you first. The fact, whichever way you look at it, Dravidian politics is taking a setback. ADMK is going to be a weaker force. DMK, some question mark as well. Is there a political vacuum in Tamil Nadu which the BJP could potentially, could potentially fill in some form? Do you see that happening at all?
I think a number of parties are going to look to fill this vacuum. There's no doubt that the credibility of the AIADMK has taken a hit. Yes, for the moment, Sasikala has emerged victorious. She's got her own nominee there, but the risk of implosion of the AIADMK is very, very real. There's a real possibility that the party could split, could in fact split. There is very little a chance that the Panneerselvams faction can actually work together with the Sasikala faction. So we are looking at a situation where the AIADMK seems to be heading towards some kind of a split or some kind of an implosion. In that situation, yes, there will be that vacuum. As we've been saying before, the BJP is very keen on Tamil Nadu. In the last election, it contested every seat in Tamil Nadu. The PMK also contested every seat in Tamil Nadu. They both drew a blank, but the BJP was very happy with its vote share. When its vote share went up from a marginal 2.5 to 2.8, the BJP was very, very happy and saw that actually as a victory. So the BJP does see Tamil Nadu as a place where it can potentially grow. And with the unraveling of the AIADMK, yeah, for the moment it's advantage DMK. But again, there Mr. Karunanidhi is also in weak health, and Mr. Stalin, of course, is the heir. But whether or not the DMK will hold, if God forbid Mr. Karunanidhi passes from the scene, that also remains to be seen. So certainly it looks as if perhaps the Dravidian parties, the two Dravidian giants, if they are in a situation of becoming weakened, then there will be other parties who will come into the fold. But yes, the BJP has always had ambitions in Tamil Nadu. I was there in the last assembly elections last year, and the BJP was very, very happy at the rise in its vote share, and they were fighting the seats very, very hungrily.
Right.
And they certainly are looking at Tamil Nadu as a place where they'll grow. So the demise of the fractures in the AIADMK would certainly hold out an opportunity for the BJP.
And Ram, very quickly, can they fill that political vacuum? Do they have it in them, given the fact that Tamil Nadu has largely been about Dravidian politics? Can this, party that's predominantly seen as a North Indian party, can it fill that political vacuum that is emerging in Tamil Nadu?
My answer is an emphatic no in the conceivable future. The BJP is an insignificant player in Tamil Nadu. And I think compare it to even Kerala, where its vote share went up quite impressively. But in Tamil Nadu, there is no space whatever for the BJP. It gained something in Western Tamil Nadu earlier when Mr. Advani was around, and I think that's gone. So the only way the BJP matters is because it commands the central government, and that's the relationship. But on the ground in Tamil Nadu, it's very, very clear to me, particularly today, with such competitive politics, that the BJP is an insignificant presence.
BJP
and I don't think that's going to change in the conceivable future.
Sure. BJP will remain an insignificant player in the near future. That's the view from N. Ram as well. Sagarika, Swami and Ram and Jaggi. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now and putting it all in perspective, helping us analyze the big picture nationally as well. Thanks for sparing the time and joining us in this special telecast on ET Now. Thanks for being with us.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.